Hello, everybody. This is Moocow1980 welcoming you to the Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. We are featuring a first round game 3 matchup between Iceman F1 and Pool Float G. And if you've been following, we've had a couple of great races between these two. The previous 2 days. Day one, Iceman was able to get the win. Pool Float got the win yesterday. And for those of you that were watching yesterday, I do want to apologize again. We had some technical difficulties. SpeedGaming lost power. So unfortunately, we didn't get to see the super end or get the post-game interviews. But I can tell you Pool Float won, and Iceman did finish his race. It actually quit out when he was at Ganon. But we are here for a round one, a fight number 3 is what we're looking at. These are teammates in the race. I'm going to go ahead and give them their send-off, and then we will be on our way. And actually, they are on their way. We just got bombs in Link's house. And I will tell you guys that I am flying solo, and sometimes it gets a little bit tricky trying to watch 2 different streams and keep everything going. So there might be times I miss something. I'm okay if you guys help me out. In fact, I love it. I love chat participation. So if I miss something, you're like, hey, Dingus, you missed this. It actually was this. Or, hey, they got that a minute ago. A-okay. Basically, Enemizer with Chaos Boss Shuffle. So, if you've been following the series, you know what it is by now. Enemies can be anywhere. Chaos Boss Shuffle means essentially as long as an arena can the boss can be there. And the boss can appear multiple times, or in some cases, the boss may not even appear in the seed at all. So it's not limited to, every boss once and 3 get twice. Nope. We've had a seed with 4 Arguses. We've had a seed with multiple cold stairs, blinds, and mold orms all in the same seed. So I saw a green pendant up on Tower of Hera. Didn't get the rest of it there. I believe they were crystals. Our tracker's fishing blue, who is just perfectly awesome. So fishing blue will get us checked out. And he's got Desert Palace as a pendant. And a crystal Eastern House. Drassi's in there too. Drossi has been very helpful as well behind the scenes this entire fest. So give some shout outs to Drossi. Really appreciate Drossi's help. Adirondack Brook has been helpful through all this as well. That's a bloopy. That's a bloopy on the Agile Edge. So we're not going to be getting at. But everyone has been completely awesome. So this is a team effort to even get this race on. But we do this because we love you guys. We love our runners. Full Float and Iceman do a lot for the community. It goes together like finding a sword in Lost Woods, for example. But so basically, follow these 2 runners. Their info is in the chat already. And, show them your love for all they do, because Float does a lot of graphical stuff and gets layouts like the one that you're seeing right now. Iceman does a lot of admin stuff. I bounced a lot of stuff off of them as well. They're just great overall people. I got a brand new phone. Pool Float was one of the first ones. It was like, hey, this is how you can, do this, do that on it, and, get the float wear off. So it's just a lot of fun little stuff that they do. And it's also great that they're teammates. They're on the Open League team. You got poutine on my cheesesteak. Of course, this was a random wheel draw tournament. So I literally, all 64 names was just one of those spin wheel things. I just spun the wheel. There's the Moon Pearl and Blind Touch and Flippers. We get a trifecta of good items. Then we just got money, which will be useful. They're on Open League team. You got poutine on my cheesesteak. There's a wheel. Just spun the wheel and went 1 through 64 straight down the bracket, and they just happened to be the two names that came together to face each other. Not a lot of smack talk. They're just having a lot of fun. They're enjoying it. You know, I think deep down they're glad it's a race streak. You know, iron sharpens iron, as they say. So quite the blabbery open for me. Trying to catch a lot of stuff. Well, there is a Cackwell Fire Rod. That could help out with damage in an Enemizer mode, because you might have a weird enemy that you can just one-shot it with the Fire Rod, and it helps out. Obviously, we know all the implications of what a Fire Rod can do down the road, but you know, Fire Rod and Enemizer can be extremely useful early on. I don't know what MSU Full Float has. Golden Sun MSU for Full Float. Go ahead and make a note of that in case people ask. Looks like we're just going to do the whole... We're not scouting it because we have no boots. We're just going to go ahead and do the race game. It's something we need. We're going to waste time doubling back. And it's a piece of heart. And you know what? Enemizer mode, health could be at a premium. So, you know, early on. So this makes perfect sense. Just go ahead and pick it up there if you so desire. Nothing to speak of there. Doing a lot of the intro stuff as the stream began, so I'm not quite sure what the difference is between them lagging behind and not being able to, you know, we say high five when they meet each other, but you know, they're very close to just holding hands and doing all the checks together. Skipping around, skedaddling, singing together, picking up stuff. Well, man, that full magic. Yeah, Pole didn't go for it. Iceman did. I would have taken the extra effort to pick up that full magic if I was Pole. But just because that Fire Rod can give you so much help early on. But we didn't really get anything of merit. Of course, money-wise, we're doing pretty good now. Obviously, Zora purposes, we have the Zora money. You still need some, like a $1.10, so to speak, to get into pod. You need 80 for dig game. You need, I think it's $10 to rescue Smith. Yes, you have to pay money to rescue Smith. I found that out the hard way once. Usually he pays you back with a red 20 because he's usually worthless. You have the mini game and Village of Outcast. So Zor is obviously the big one, the big sink of your money. Hey, blue armor and the ice rod cave, so that is helpful. You will not turn that down in Enemizer, especially when you're looking at 4 hearts. So Iceman, see, maybe he's taking a different route to go over to the man under the bridge. That's true. Rage Monchai says you don't pay Smith and Saving, you pay for a service to forging and temper sword or trash and randomizer. Hey, Hammer is on the hobo under bridge. Either way, it's wasted money because usually Smith has like trash for you. So let's see. We're swimming around. We're going to go back into the waterfall cave, and then we're going to be checking out for we can access all 4 of these checks here. Then in the corner of the world, and we get a glove for our Dark World access. Now we know a glove is in the library. Oh, Magic Bat's open. That's the powder in the waterfall cave. On our ledge here, just 20. So we need a glove, or we need here the Dark World access. And if we get the glove, then we know that the library would then be the logical titan. Or at least we would presume that. You'd also get a flute right there, and that'll open up a couple of mountain checks, not everything. Basically, you can do Old Man in the Dark out of logic, check top Spec Rock, just to observe it, and you can get what's inside of Spec Rock. So naturally, what do you do when you get a flute? You're going over to CAC. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand and remove your hats for the Highland National Anthem. Since you're here, and since it's early in the game, just mosey on over. Give a little friendly tap of the hammer onto a peg into the ground. Go on and sprinkle a little bit of that dust onto a podium. And watch the magic bat give you absolutely nothing. Be useful for once, Bat, please. That's not really being useful. We can live without a bloomerang. If Mr. Ed 3, the resident horse of the rando community we're in here, he could give you his thoughts on Magic Bat. They're not pretty. He can make them PG rated, trust me, but they're not pretty. So as we flute over on Pole's side, Iceman's saying, you know what? Let's see what the old dude has in his closet. Pool Float is going to go to the other old dude and see what's in his closet. Bombs. You bomb to get bombs. Don't you love it? Well, at least we know nothing's over there. There is a cape and a lamp in Saha. The cape is very helpful because you never know when you're going to need it to slide by an interesting Enemizer situation. The cape and the lamp in Saha's hut also opens up something that is kind of undesirable, but it might be unavoidable at this point for all we know. And that is an AGA 1 climb. Iceman's going to go ahead and dip into Eastern. It is a crystal, and depending on how things go, you may be able to beat it. It's not going to be fun with a fighter sword, you know, especially depending on the enemy, but you never know. Pool is saying, nah, I'm good. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go elsewhere. He is going to go up into the castle. We're going to get some castle checks. So we really got some divergence going. So obviously, on the surface, it appears Pool's hedging his bet, saying, you know what? One way or another, this castle is going to be my direction. Either I'm finding something, or I'm having to do Act 1. Iceman is doing Eastern. Now, if you remember Race 2 yesterday, Iceman didn't do Eastern right away. Pool did. Pool did Eastern, and it paid off for him, and Iceman eventually had to triple dip the mountain. So now we kind of got a reversal where Iceman's doing Eastern, and Pool, based on his item layout, with all signs pointing to Aga, saying, I'm just going to do Aga. So it's just kind of interesting how everything is there. It's being brought up in chat. Mountain still has checks, period. And those checks could have progression. You can't just say that Mountain's not all of accessible and expect it to be nothing. Because Old Man can have something, and the Spectacle Rock Cave inside could have something. And you can't ignore that. But again, it could be a hedging of bets. On what one does. And look at Pool Float got a mirror in Zelda Cell. So this is going to make things easier because he doesn't have to Death Warp now. Although he might Death Warp for a health refill. Oh, look at that. Iceman got a glove. So we're going to say that the logical glove was Eastern Palace. We're gonna call it then that the mitts were on Library and our boots locked. So Eastern is a big early play. Now we're going to be waiting a little bit with bated breath. What does Pool Float do? Iceman does not have the compass, so he's going back to this boss. No idea if he can even beat it. And I missed it. I'm assuming Iceman got his ether in Eastern. If someone can confirm that for me. Again, one of those situations where you're watching two streams going alone, sometimes you're going to miss stuff. Ether was a big chest. Thank you, Fishing Boo. Wonderful tracker. And the ether's coming to pay off already. Let's see what we got. We got a moth. This is beatable. Moth is not the same outside of the arena. Meanwhile, look what Pool Float's doing. Oh, goodness. If you're a Pool Float fan, this is not what you want to see, because we know the answer. I don't know the exact time that it takes to climb the tower. I'm just going to use a general approximation and say this is 5 minutes. That is unfortunate. And these are the things that can impact the entirety of a race. I mean, on the surface, our reds are swamp and ice. Our red crystals are swamp and ice. I didn't catch the other pendant. Got a lot of fresh checks on Iceman's side, so I'm kind of pausing midpoint here. And there's your boots. So now you got your mid. You have mid access, and I believe he's going to go right to it. Myra's dependent. Thank you, Fishing Boo. But yeah, this is basically just to say a nice round number that sounds easy off the tongue, a 5-minute investment for Pool Float. And this could be very well something that's hard to recover from. But we also don't know what's going to come up. Now, Iceman fell behind yesterday. Had issues. And darn near pulled even. So it's not impossible to make some miscalculations early, find out later that you miscalculated, but still make up the difference. There's a lot that can happen in the game, so we're not going to do the premature declare GGs on Pool Float getting a loss, because that's completely wrong. It's just an unfortunate situation he's faced, but let's see how this plays out in the Dark World. Let's see how Iceman routes, and does it, open up something for Pool Float. Iceman does not have any bombs, so he went and just bought some at the shop he knew about. I have no idea what's going on with Pool Float's side. Guess we're not going to get to see Pyramid Ledge. And I wasn't able to get to his stream in time to check on that, so I'm going to assume it was nothing the way that he bounced down. Shield for Iceman. As we switched over to his audio, which is going to be to Death's Door MSU. And in the early going, yes, because Pool had to do because he chose to do Aga. I would put Iceman in the early lead. Not really finding any items of merit so far in our respective dungeons. Full Float is going to go to the right side, which is technically, logically, it's still bow locked, but you can get through and not necessarily need that. Iceman. Now, keep in mind, he doesn't need to bomb the hole for the boss. He doesn't need to save the maiden for the boss. In fact, because the boss is Trinex, I wouldn't even want to speculate what a maiden would look like this Trinex. But regardless, he doesn't have to do any of that. Uh-oh, we got crystal. That was not a kind combo. That was not a kind combo. Crystal Roller and the Chain Chomp. He was able to at least get a fairy out of that and restore to health, but that was a little bit scary. There's the key and blind cell. So that'll open up our big chest. This is where the cape comes in on Pool's side. Iceman picked up a sword, I believe, in Thieves' Town, if my tracker can confirm that. To make sure I didn't blur my thoughts together. Did you get that in the big chest tracker? Yes. Thank you so much for that. You look at it, you see it, you get it in your mind, and then all of a sudden it just like falls off your tongue. I think we've all been there. But obviously, he death warped out there pretty quick because he cannot beat Trinex. And with this being a crystal dungeon, we are officially going to have an Ice Rod seed. This pool continues to meander his way through Pod. Iceman's got this fire bar in a way. This is going to make things a little bit interesting because you got that fireball and a little energy ball moving around. We're going to get a Pod boss check. That is Cold Stare in Pod. So yeah, Iceman had to be very careful there getting through. There's the big key. With no bow, pull was done in Pod, but now he's going to get some very bad news shortly here in Eastern. Iceman just taking the death warp. It was just much easier to regain health and go back. He got his big key. Going to go to the back here. Take his chances on what's going on. And hey, if you get 2 items and a beatable boss, you don't even have to touch the front. Yeah, Jason, Iceman obviously didn't make a decision to go to Aga. He made a decision to go to Eastern, which is the difference between having Mare and not having Mare. And there's our Ice Rod. So be kind of a tough fight, but he could go back and do Trinix right now if he wanted to wait until he got more health or resources. No one would blame him on that either. But I think overall, doing Aga but having the Mare, I think Iceman's in a better position right now of having done Eastern to get his Dark World access. But you never know. Again, these are little things that could save time, that could help pull float. Who knows when Iceman goes back and does Hyrule Castle. We got full magic. We're not going to worry about powdering for the half heart. Argus cannot be beaten, so he's just, with no mirror, just going to take that death warp. We'll have to come back to this with a hook shot. And Argus is a fun fight in that arena. We'll just leave it at that. Pull float now, getting his word that the agate play was unnecessary. I'm sure he had a few choice words for that. I guess I'm losing what you're saying, Cross Staves, when you talk about Iceman combining it with the pyramid check. Obviously, he doesn't have mirror, and he's not going to do Aga. So I'm a little bit confused what you mean there. Boots were in Hype Cave. Hey, we know what the boss in Skull Woods is now. All we have to do is check our compass. Okay, I see what you mean, Cross Staves. Sometimes things get a little lost in translation and text, so no big deal. Okay, so our last item is going to be in this last pinball chest here. Excuse me. Pool is just going to sword slash. So Iceman must have gotten a second item and I just missed it. No, it's on Argus. That's right. See, I'm glad I have Fishing Boo. He makes me look good. So Iceman's like, you know what? I got the goods now. Let's just see if we can knock out this Trinex. Obviously not a lot of room for error. And you want to make sure the heads cooperate, and you're going to be doing a hammer strats, but most runners can do this easily enough. Ice is just going to take his time doing this. He doesn't want to waste any magic. But he should only use like 5 rod shots at max to go with the hammer hits. It's kind of like doing it with Tempered Sword. He got 3 hits there. He's trying to get down there. 1, 2. Unfortunately, did not hit start button in time to get over. Trinex cannot ice the floor outside of his home arena. And he's just going to be a little bit cautious. Not going to worry about tail issues here. Pull is doing Skullwoods first. Little does he know that this is actually the better play. He's not going to be able to beat the boss, of course. But he'll be able to single dip Thieves Town if he so desires to fight Trinex at this time. Nice Man gets through the fight. So he was pretty good with his magic there. He didn't have any issues. Again, you got that Tempered Sword damage with the hammer, so... So that's 2 crystals on the board for Iceman. Just the 1 for Pool Float. Again, our basic difference if you're just tuning in. Pool Float didn't dip Eastern Palace. And hedged his bets on the fact that he had the Agate 1 access items and just went and did Agate 1. Iceman does Eastern and gets the glove that they both needed for Dark World access. And therefore was able to skip Agate 1. That's the long and short of what our difference is at this time. Scottish Brave 44, rating was 16. Thank you so much, Scottish. I appreciate all you do. Not only for your stream, but you have the Restream Central Discord that you run for helping with restreaming and tournaments. So I appreciate you so much. Give Scottish Brave a follow if you can. This tournament is a new tournament. I am actually the tournament organizer. It just started on Monday. So a lot of these are first round matchups that you're seeing this week. This is a first year tourney. We get our first bottle on Stumpy over on Iceman's side. Of course, Iceman's already done Hype Cave, so he can just bypass that area now. But when he goes to turn in Smithy, he will be able to go ahead and turn in that bottle. And now we'll be able to see what's going on with the Pyramid Ledge. I don't think it was anything. Yeah, it was just bombs. Unfortunately, I had a little bit of slideshow with pool float there, so we weren't able to see, but we just assumed by how he was moving that it was unimportant. Okay, yesterday's race. These two dodged and dodged and dodged and dodged Catfish. And Catfish had a go mode hook shot. Iceman saying, nope, I ain't going with that today. I'm not going to have that happen to me again. Catfish is my friend. I am checking Catfish. Just has a bloopy, but there's a peace of mind for that check for Iceman. Literally, Iceman had a perfect chance to tie up yesterday's race as far as, pulling even. He does Big Bomb. If you play Big Bomb late in the game into Catfish, you get your hook shot and you go. He does Big Bomb, then dips Hookless Swamp. He second-guessed himself, he said, after the race. He completely second-guessed himself and just went to Hookless Swamp, and it cost him. That's one thing you didn't get to hear in the post-race interviews. Bumper ledge is useless. So we're in the same area now, but we can only do one check apiece. Just how that works out here. Iceman got nothing in King's Tomb. Pull Float's about to tell us what's on Graveyard Ledge. And Piece of Heart. So really nothing. Iceman gonna bonk some rocks here. And just bombs. Full Float taking a moment to figure out what he wants to do. Kid is sick, gives up health. Seems kind of contradictory and counterintuitive to his situation, but that's sick kid's prerogative, not ours. Where did Poole get his second sword, Fishing Boo? Dark Maze. Thank you. This is why Fishing Boo is valuable. Please give Fishing Boo a follow. Fishing Boo is really awesome at tracking, and a lot of these times when you do races, you do have a second, and it helps out with, two people, two different screens, two sets of eyes. Inevitably I'll miss things, so having a good tracker like Fishing Boo can really save the day. Can also go ahead and give our runners a follow. Again, Iceman, Pull Float, great people all the way around, do a lot for the community. Make sure to give them a follow. They're giving you a third meeting in this tournament in the best of 3. They're definitely good people to follow. Okay, Iceman's getting a little bit jebaited here. Finally gets through. All those nasty knights were just giving him some problems. We are on Iceman's audio, which has the Death's Door MSU. Fabio. Iceman just trying to get lined up for this bomb jump here. No Samaria, no icebreakers. You gotta pull out some of the, what we would call, I guess now, old school strats. Two enemies. You can't see 3 of them. That's usually a good indication Enemizer that you got some shadows. And of course, good old Ether takes care of a lot of stuff in that room. In fact, all of it. This man gets a red 20. No big key. So he's going to have to go around. No hook shot either makes things a little difficult. So he's got to go a little bit of a long way to get to that iced tea chest to get his big key. Pool is in. Pool, who had taken a death, was in another tricky situation there in that dungeon. Helma is an ice palace. Iceman in an interesting room here to get to Helma. Pull Float will pull ahead on the sword game 3-2. Tempered Sword will really help in this fight. It'll just basically, it's going to help avoiding doing the pause menu strats. And give you a little bit more range. So it should make the fight a little bit easier for Pull Float to get through this Trinax. Iceman just going for a 17 hammer strat on the mask of Elmasaur and sword slashing him the rest of the way on his head crystal. Bow and arrow for his efforts against Helma. So that makes Pod beatable because you can now shoot the statue in the back. And Pod is a crystal in the seed. Which, speaking of crystals, it's a 3-to-1 lead in crystals for Iceman. That's about to become 3-to-2 as Pull Float gains 1 back here on this fight. So I mentioned Pod just a couple moments ago. Look where Iceman is. Just going to go ahead and skedaddle one up there. That'll get him his Temper Sword, and pretty much all he's lacking to match Pull Float at this point is basically that Hyrule Castle dip to get the Mirror and Zelda Cell. Hasn't been a big deal so far. I mean, Death Warps are fine. Sometimes Death Warps are better than mirroring. Just get your health back. It's worth a few seconds investment. So the mirror hasn't made an impact really just yet. But he's obviously going to need it, because as we see, Swamp Palace, Crystal. So you have to have that mirror. How soon he'll get funneled there? I don't know. Depends on when his hook shot comes up. You know, that could be a driving factor. There's a lot of little factors here and there that come up. Hook shot is just the big one that comes off the top of my head, but you know, we don't know when he's going to get driven there. He's just got to do that front part and get down to Zelda Cell. Yeah, it was a disgusting dig game, Jarek. Max digs indeed. You have to do more than like 5. It's too many. K45 check reveals nothing of merit. We did not get that, obviously, with no merit for Iceman, so we didn't get that earlier. Now, look at all this walking Pull's doing. All this walking he's been doing. This is going to be another, if I'd had only gone to Eastern and gotten my glove and just went to the Dark World moment. Because you get your glove in Eastern, you go to the Dark World, and you make this your first check. Boom. Boots. So it'll be interesting to see how Pull Float, because you gotta, if you're in his shoes, you have to feel automatically behind, knowing that you just did Aga for no reason. Pull Float now going to get what we now know are the logical mitts. We saw these first, and we knew it would be a boot seed. Turned out instead of the glove, these were actually the logical mitts. So yes, if you are just tuning in, essentially the difference is Pull Float didn't go to Eastern as I was describing, and he did Aga 1, and he found out he could have done Eastern, gotten his glove to give him Dark World access. Iceman did Eastern, and that's why he's got a bit of a lead Here, 3-2 in crystals. The major thing that Pull Float did that Iceman has not was he, on his way to saying, I'm doing the Aga play, he did front of escape. He did full escape, in fact. Front of escape, and there's the hook shot on Old Man Rescue. He did the front of escape and got the mirror. So hook shot on Old Man Rescue. True cross staves. They could have been gotten in either order. But in terms of best routing practices, Iceman got it the right way. So Pull Float sees something shiny. It's called a Quake Medallion. He's going to get it. Iceman death warps with no mirror, so he can go towards the boss. Pull Float could have done either way. Go to Hera. He just decided to get those 2 checks out of the way, and then he wanted to go to the eastern part. And then go about his business. Burna and lower Paradox. Good to get a refill on bombs since he's in the neighborhood. Iceman's on his way back to the pod boss, which we know is Cold Stare. Mirror shield for Pull. Unless Iceman gets a magic refill in one of these next couple of rooms, he's going to have to burn that potion that he picked up at the shop, which is why you pick up the potion. Yes, Cross Staves is right. Samaria is definitely going to be needed because TR. We also don't know what TR's medallion is. And we're going to find this out here very shortly. Iceman tried to do the Fire Rod, Cold Stairs Shell, followed up with a Sword Beam, but he wasn't going to be able to pull it off. He still didn't have enough magic, so he had to burn his potion, and then he continued doing that strat. And then just used the rest of his magic to burn the puffs, and there we go. Easy win for him. And his reward is a blue potion, so you got to spend money to get money, as they say. Well, I guess you got to spend potions to get potions. Anyway, as we were watching his fight, we also saw on Pull Float's side that TR was a Bombos entry. So, of course, we have knowledge of two medallions, and it would be the third. Pull Float is like, okay, dude, this is why Enemizer's fun. He's like, get me out of here. I didn't get any merit. I got the chest open. Get me out of here and away from this stuff. Iceman about to get his hook shot. Pool is electing to now do Spiral Cave. Iceman just going straight to the East Death Mountain. So Pool decided to do Spiral Cave now. And then save and quit again. And he's not even going to dip Hera. He's like, nope, you're pendant. Don't need you. I got stuff to do. And technically, you know, you do have a Swamp Palace sitting there. Sometimes you can get some quick checks in Hera. He's on his way back to have some fun. I don't like this fight. I hate Argus and Moth Arena. I hate it. Yes, Evil. Just to kind of recap our basic story. The race right now is boiling down to this. Pull Float got the items for an Aga 1 play and hedged his bets that it was going to be an Aga seed. Goes in, does full escape, gets Mirror and Zelda's Cell. That's a key part because Iceman doesn't have it. But Iceman did Eastern. And they needed a glove for Dark World. Both of them did. And he got his glove in Eastern. And so he didn't have to do Aga. That's basically our difference, guys. And I've been in Pool's shoes. I've done the Aga play and said, nope, I am not. In my case, it was a pendant Eastern. I said, I'm not dipping pendant Eastern. I'm just going to go ahead and do this Aga play, and it burned me. Yeah, I mean, you have the items, but in Enemizer, you know Eastern can potentially be beatable, so I'll be interested just to ask. There's Bombos. There is Bombos for TR sitting on Argus on Skullwoods. But I will ask Pull Float and post game, you know, what his decision was for it. Iceman, meanwhile, went ahead and just picked up a pendant. It's the green pendant, so it's an extra item in the dungeon. Not really anything of note in there so far. But he's looking for a mirror. And Pull Float being there and having the mirror and knowing that he has another crystal dungeon to go to, which he's about to do as we speak, which is Swamp Palace, figured, okay, I can get by without doing Hera. Iceman's looking for a mirror. He's looking, you know, we know he's going to be looking for a Bombos, looking for a Samaria. So he's got that one extra item that, well, actually at this point, 2 extra items, I should say, that he's looking for. So Iceman is doing the full clear here to hopefully get what he needs. Now, if this pays off for Iceman, we'll see. Okay. Iceman froze there for a minute. Like, It's not a stream, but he himself was just kind of sitting there. Butter. So nice to have, and if you're doing a silverless Ganon, it can make it a little bit quicker on the spin to win. But it's not a necessary thing. But butter is still nice nonetheless. Mirror was in Zelda's cell, Rabney. Pull Float did that on his way to hedging his on his way to his bet that it was an AGA 1 seed. Iceman has not really touched that castle. He got to the back of the castle because he had the glove, and that was an easy 3 checks, but he hasn't really done the castle. So he's got to do front of escape to get his mirror. So again, AGA 1 and the mirror. Those are our 2 differences. Right now, the mirror's lack of mirror is not impacting Iceman. Pull one straight to the back, which is honestly the smart play. Just get back there, get your items. If you get what you need, you do not have to touch that left side. He's gonna... It's gonna be a tricky bomb diver down now. This fire bar... He got the timing just right. Now, I said Iceman was a bombos downer. He's about to officially find out that he needs that bombos. He's ready to open it. He just doesn't know. And now he does. Bombo's paying some dividends here in Swamp Palace, where we have a cold stare. Saves him a lot of magic from burning through all of the fire rod shots to break the shell. Just now Bombos it and go to town. Gets the easy win. Red Ruby first troubles there. And then the crystal. So we're tied up on crystals. Tower of Hera could still be an item for Iceman. We don't know. We have not turned in the green pendant as of yet. He hasn't left the mountain yet, to be honest. He's still doing his checks up there, so we don't know the status of the green pendant. Pull Float is saying, I didn't get what I needed. I have to check left side. So we're going to get fresh checks on both sides. It's going to take Pull Float a little bit of time to get back there. Specky Clip, which is allowed in the tournament. Specky Clip's pretty much universally allowed almost everywhere now. Save them a key. Iceman. Nothing in Spike Cave. He's going to Sanctuary to refill. He's going to Flute. I would think that you're probably doing a couple of different things with this. One, you are going to turn in this green pendant. We'll see how he feels about his magic situation, if he goes to the potion shop or not. He may go to Meyer. Piece of heart on Saha, so. Womp womp on that. right. So Iceman is going to do there. Gonna go do Regina. Full Float getting the word that, yes, you did this, but you're not done yet because we're going to give you the big key right here. Big key did not lock itself. Iceman going back out. I imagine he's going to flute back to 6. And Swamp was a strikeout. So that did not work for Full Float. That's got to hurt him mentally, knowing that he did that Aga play. That's just, you know, he needed items, yes, but in the back of your mind, when you do that, you're just like, no. But now we're going to ice on pool side. Iceman, we're giving us some fresh checks here. Meyer Shack. Nothing there. All right, so Mr. Ice, what's your plan, buddy? Getting those potions, like I said. Just gonna burn this right now, get his magic up. Place it with the bluey. Zembar, 61-month sub to the main SpeedGaming channel. That is now officially over 5 years. Thank you so much for supporting SpeedGaming. Every sub, everything you do like that for SpeedGaming helps support these channels, the various different channels they have. Everything is appreciated. You know, if you love watching everything on SpeedGaming here, if you love, you know, all the different, not just the Zelda stuff, they do like Mario stuff, they do Metroid stuff, they do a lot of stuff, Pokemon. So anytime you sub or give bits or anything, it is most appreciated. Allows all of us to enjoy this. So thank you so much. So anyway, what are we looking at here? We're looking at getting a Bombos for Iceman with this Argus fight. Pool, in the meantime, he's going to go ahead and get his bow off of the boss. He will, by virtue of this, then have his second red crystal. So that is an option for him to do the Bomb Fairy. Looking back through my item tracker here, I don't think I missed anything else in Ice Palace. So it's pretty much open. The bow will open up Beating Pod, and he opens up Pyramid Fairy. Iceman not having too much of difficulty here. Again, I still hate this fight. He's just going to do a couple gold sword spins. And the fight's done. He gets his Bombos. So that gives him TR entry, but both of them are still looking for one particular item to help with that, and that is Somaria. Allow me a moment just to take a quick water break here. All right, so we got a new check coming up here. It's going to be on Iceman's side. It is going to be the chest that is the color purple. I really thought about singing Purple Chest to lyrics of Purple Rain, but I would immediately get kicked off commentary for ruining your ears. So I'm not going to do that. So Iceman's going to get word of his Quake, which is needed. It could be needed if you have to dip mire. He's hoping no, I'm good. I don't want to dip mire. I'm just going to bypass that until I absolutely have to do it. Now he's like, fine, I turn into Purple Chest. I'll come back for you, stupid medallion. At least that's what I would say. Purple Chest is finicky. Purple Chest wants to be taken to the nicest of places, like an expensive date. Well, if you're Iceman, you can do desert. You can't do TR. You can do mire. You can't do swamp. Ice is starting to bottleneck himself. When is he going to do the front of escape? Not right now. He's going to take a gamble on the mire. So now we're at the point where at first the mirror wasn't hurting. Now we're getting to the point that Pool's going to start slowly gaining. The longer Iceman puts off doing the mirror, doing the front of escape, this is only going to help Pool Float G. Now Pool's got a Pyramid Fairy to do. Pool's got a pod to wrap up. That'll tie him up in the crystal hunt once he does pod. Now, what if Iceman turns around, hits gold, and gets Samaria? That helps him do TR, because if he gets Samaria, he's probably going right away to TR. Den's checks, don't blame him. But chat, we know where that mirror's at. He's got to get the front of escape. Meanwhile, there is Pool saying, I'm going to get my crystal. I need this. I'm going for it. Let's get it done. Because we know that for all intents and purposes, Hera was a bomb. Unless you're a gold sword, gold sword lover. Then I guess Hera wasn't a waste. His gold sword was in Hera basement. That's the only thing that was really in Hera, including the green pendant turn-in. Iceman has that wasted dungeon there, which was still quicker than a Naga climb. But again, the more that you put off going to the front of escape, The more you put off that front, it's adding up. Yeah, definitely ground cover, not insignificant. That's right, Zembar. But as I said early in a race, you know, you never want to GG a race early based on a play. And the Aga play looked pretty bad for pool float, but, you know, as I said early in the race, and let's wait and see, because you never know what's going to happen. We could have the perfect scenario for pool float unfolding for us. And that's kind of, without outright saying it, Fluffy Mittens, that's kind of what I'm feeling, but you know, it could be his last location. And yes, Zembar, that is a danger. You just we've all been guilty of it. Like, I ain't touching there. I ain't going there. I ain't doing nothing there. That place is dead to me. And then in the end, you're like, why? Oh, well, we have a Book and Meyer. Book and Meyer just opened up some checks. One of them, though, cannot be gotten because Iceman doesn't have the mirror, and that is the Bombos tablet. But he can do the Ether tablet if he wants, but that would be the long way because he doesn't have the mirror. So we're going to go for Mushroom instead. And Mushroom was a waste. Jarek points out in chat. Jarek is the third player in the You Got Poutine on My Cheesesteak Open League team that Iceman and Pool are also part of. Jarek has to remain unbiased and wants to cheer when one does something good, but then feel bad immediately because it hurts the other. And it's just like, you get to the point, it's like, I give up. Please, no one get hurt. Pet is Couch Cash. We knew Pet couldn't be Samaria anyway, because Meyer being a pendant. And we knew where Mir was. Well, now what do you do if you're Iceman? Here we go. Someone just called it in chat. Someone just did. Who did that? Sacrijuts. Sacrijuts. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but you called it. I mean, Samaria could be in here. I didn't catch that. Let me check on the... Yeah, Armos Knights. So, if an item's on the boss, he'll be fighting some Armos Knights. He's hoping, however, that's not the case. He's hoping he can just avoid that because he knows he doesn't need that pendant. Meanwhile, Pool Float is putting himself over into the Mire Desert area. But he has Mirror, so he can do a check that Iceman couldn't. Iceman just got his half magic. And wrong red item for Pool Float. It was a red 20, not the Samaria. There's both items in desert. Iceman literally can't do anything else unless he wants to do Ether Tablet the long way. And as I say that, he's going to do Ether Tablet the long way. Pool Float's going into desert. So I think it's pretty safe assumption at this point, chat, to say that Pool Float's probably going to find that Samaria first. I just feel that the mirror is somehow locking that Samaria. Because Iceman really doesn't have any checks left. Unless I'm missing something, he has to get this mirror before he can do anything else further to try to get that Samaria. Unless he, strikes gold here. Well, it is a stick. But it's not red and it has a net on it. Okay, to some people that is gold. According to Fluffy Mittens in chat. Hey folks, we got the net. Aga 1 and Aga 2 are in logic. Iceman finally... He's finally going to get his mirror. But now look at Pool Float. He's going down. I think we got Big Bomb coming. I think this is Big Bomb play for Pool Float. Because he didn't dip Meyer. So he's going for his Big Bomb. This is the point where Iceman's going to go from, I'm not feeling good about this, that I'm starting the last location, to I'm probably behind and losing this race. Where Pool Float has been playing that way virtually the whole game. And there it is. There it is. Mirror locked Samaria via the red crystals, which opened up Pyramid Fairy, which had the Samaria. So again, never count anyone out when they have a bad situation early, because they can always rise and overcome. And that's what Pool Float's doing, because he is now in go mode. However, a lot of weird things can happen. But we're basically looking at a dungeon's difference. Because I would guess the time it takes to do Swamp Palace and go up and do the Bomb Fairy. Well, actually, no. He may do left. So we don't know what Iceman does. How Iceman routes the Swamp Palace may completely impact everything. And of course, now he's going to check Bombo, so that just adds more time. One would think you're doing this, you're full clearing Swamp, then you're doing your big bomb. By the time you do all that, Pool Float's probably... Well, there's silvers. There's silver errors for Iceman. But will that be enough? I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think Pool Float's going to be in GT by the time Iceman gets up to TR. But just remember, Enemizer is a great equalizer. Because as calm, cool, and collective as one may be climbing the tower, it only takes one wall master to ruin the whole climb. So that's why I refuse to assume anyone is winning this race. One Trinex on ice, exactly. We don't know what shenanigans await us in GT. You know, we're sitting here watching him go through TR. I mean, what if Pool goes in, just does full left, for example, gets a Trinex on ice, struggles with it, gets hit with a Wall Master, you know, on the climb. What if the big key was in Compass Room and Iceman avoids the Wall Master? I mean, there are some ugly scenarios that can rear their head in GTs. That's why I'm, you know, nothing feels safe at all, even though it looks safe. Yes, randomizer's a lot of what ifs. But Enemizer is a great equalizer. You know, if this was a normal situation where it was just a normal GT, it wasn't Enemizer, you know, the analytics would say Pool Float is in a bigger mode. In a, not a bigger mode, but a bigger chance of winning. Not in Enemizer mode. Iceman did not get his diver down via bomb method. Got it on the second try. Pool has 2 keys. He doesn't even have to touch Laser Bridge. Ideal go mode scenario there for TR. But yes, this is really going to come down to how nasty of a GT we get. We'll go and pick up the CZ Ferry here. Helmasaur. Should be quick work. With the boss exploding, crystal collected, it is GT time. Numbers are in chat. I think you guys know the game. Pick a number between 1 to 22. If you guessed the right number of where that GT big key is, you win free randomizer seeds for life. I always go 9. 9 is my standard pick. I've always picked 9. Meanwhile, Iceman is about to get his Samario. So while Iceman makes his way to TR, we will be watching Pull Float screen almost exclusively at this point to do the counting. There is a key for 1, there's a key for 2. He decides no on going to the right. He's going to do his hope left. There's a compass. Compass does not help in GT. You can't identify any bosses with the compass in GT, so there's no use picking it up. So 3 checks in the books for Pool. Key. We're getting all our keys. So 4 was a key, 5 was a red 20, 6 is bombs, 7 is arrows. So we're not going to have any key issues. Yuck. Yellow spike making check number 8 hard, and it was just 4 arrows, so it just makes it even worse. Fire snake room we go. Looks like it's got a bunch of shadows and it has a piece of heart. So rando room we are off to. Checks 10 through 13 on our way. Ten is a red 20. 11's a greenie. 12 is bombs, 13 is a heart. Good old Bob's chest is coming up for check 14. Evil Knievel, this is Chaos Boss Shuffle. A boss can appear as many times as possible. If the arena allows for it, the boss can appear there. We could theoretically have Trinexes in the basement and second floor of GT. And if there is, may the rando gods have mercy on their souls. Check 14, red 20. So let's find out what's in the basement. We have Bolt Arm. Easy for the runner, not as exciting for us in chat wanting to see pure chaos. And let's see, 15's a red 20, 16's a key, 17's a red 20. So our answer is somewhere on the right side. We got a 20% chance it's Tower Room. For those that love shenanigans. You go to the Compass Room. Because obviously 80% chance it's in Compass Room. But again, if you're a shenanigan lover, your hopes are alive. '18's blue goo. 19's a red 20. 20 is the big key. 20 is the magic number as I go through. Uh-oh. So all I'm going to say is uh-oh is his name. Uh-oh, got 20. So congratulations, uh-oh. You win free randomizer seeds for life. Well, this is a nasty looking room for pool float, but he's finding a way to get by it. Now, normally you would leave that crystal switch in the down position for those blocks, but because this is Enemizer, all you have is the bunny beam up at clear at the top. You don't have the bunny beam and the anti-fairy. So it's not as critical to leave that down. And in this case, he had to get himself out of there alive and not die. So, you know, that takes a little bit more precedence over trying to plan for the future. Yeah, Bloody Beam, you know. Live talking is hard, Siriu. Very hard. And I tend to spit out words funny sometimes. That's why I don't do it. Good for you. But I figure, I'll be honest, it's my tournament. I got to step up to the plate and support my community. So, Helmasaur. This is the third Helmasaur that we've seen this game. We've seen Moth twice, Cold Stare twice, Armos, Argus, Trinex, and then Helmasaur 3 times. So we have Helma's in position to win for bosses we've seen with 3. Could get a 4th. Or Moth or Cold Stare could pull into a tie up here at the top. Nice double kill with the 1 fire rod shot there to get him out of that hectic room. Oh. Okay, this is an easy one. Just kill. Wow. He didn't want to cooperate. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. But Pool found a way through it. Yeah, he spent too much time. That enemy is just... I was about to say he had an easy time because that enemy was not a yellow spike or a small spike, but then, you know, he proved a liar out of me and gave just enough issue for Pool to have to basically light the torches again. He's going to pick up this magic to be safe. I think he would have had enough, but at this point, it's negligible. So He may check these for silvers. We know what the silvers were on Bombo's tablet, but he's going to check these to see if it makes it an easier fight. So you can't fault these checks. Meanwhile, give our runners and Fishing Boo a follow. Fishing Boo's been doing great tracking. Fishing Boo's kept me on the straight and narrow with some of these item locations. Really appreciate it, Fishing Boo. I can't stress that enough. You've bailed me out the several times we've worked together this week. I know I can always count on you. So that was Moldorm. Double dose of Moldorm and GT. So Helma wins the boss total with 3. Now that we're finally through GT, now that we've finally gotten past all the ugly stuff that could have happened, this is the part where I feel comfortable saying that this is Pulford's race to lose. And I know you could have said that earlier, and some people have, but I just don't trust this tower or an Enemizer. I've seen too many shenanigans. Now, Pulfloat's going to have a spin to win. So it's going to take him a little bit more time because he's just on a tempered. But we're looking at Iceman getting ready to go into the basement fight with Moldorm. He's not even close to getting his climb started, so it would take probably a catastrophic hardware failure that I wouldn't wish on anyone for Pulfloat to not win this race. And if you wish that on anyone, that's just terrible. All Pul has to do is be cool, calm, collective. You look at if he looks at the race time room, I don't know if he looks at the race time room, but if you do and you see it's not over, you just close it, or you minimize the browser and you just say, hey, we're finishing it out. Somehow, some way, this early AGA 1 play that was completely unnecessary somehow didn't matter. I'm somehow in this. We're just going to fight Ganon and pray we don't get sniped. Just be calm, cool, and collective, Pul. You don't know it, but if you fall, it's not going to hurt you. It's going to take multiple falls at this point. As you say that, you do a scary spin for me. And slow and steady, won the race. Get your GGs in chat, please. For a hard-fought series win by Pulfloat G. Crosses the bridge with a race time of 1:48.38. Iceman at this point says, I'm done. I'm forfeiting. It's over. I concede to my teammate who has won. Iceman won the first one. Pulfloat got the other 2. We're going to bring him in for interviews. And as soon as they get in here, we will talk to them. And we are being joined in the booth by our awesome racers today, Pool Float and Iceman. Again, chat, please give your GGs up to them and GGs to you guys for an awesome, phenomenal 3-race series. One of the most exciting things to start off this Enemizer tournament.
They sure were interesting.
Yes, GG's, Iceman. That was every one had some little catch.
Yep. Who would have thought Beer would be in the same place 2 seeds in a row?
And that's and I said that, and then I'm like, I said that, and then I'm like, all right, I'm not skipping Thebes because what are the odds 3 times in a row? That's irrelevant. And then the same thing with Pyramid Fairy.
Yeah, and I guess there's a couple ways to look at this. First off, Pool, you probably, I would say, played virtually this entire race feeling you were behind when you did the AGA 1 play and found out later that if you just went to Eastern, you got your Dark World access. But believe it or not, in a strange way, that AGA 1 play got you your mirror, which Iceman last located and kind of strangely helped you.
Sure did.
Yeah, and it was the same thing where, it worked out in terms of a win, but I was absolutely in my head the entire race because I'm like, all right, I did these things in the last 2, didn't work out so well, but what are the odds that there's 3 in a row where this is irrelevant?
And Iceman,
well, that's kind of what I was figuring with the Pyramid Fairy was.
Mm-hmm.
With the mirror, I felt behind. I'm like, okay, I'll check everything except for left side swamp. But no, I'm rushing Pyramid Fairy as my mirror check.
Where were silvers? I'm gonna guess probably Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb. Oh, really? Wow. Yep. Where was Book?
Meyer.
Oh yeah, I didn't go into Meyer. I
chased every single pendant.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking Book has to be my out. It was not.
Was there something that went on Ice that just said, forget the castle exists? I mean, you did get a great start and you were just kind of zooming along. Things are going swimmingly.
And that's part of the problem is my start where I was just finding every little thing. I'm thinking to myself, at some point, Mirror has to turn up. And if I'm going to do castle, I want to do it with Mirror after I had done the back. Because I'm like, otherwise, in my mind, that's too slow for three items. I had either crystals to clear or other stuff that was more higher density. And then when I found Quake to do the Mire, that just led me down a bad hole of, oh crap, with Hookshot being where it was, Pool must have had this Quake much faster. Therefore, I need to catch up on this, and it sent me down the wrong hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is just kind of got to be hard as well because, unfortunately, we didn't get to do the post-game interviews yesterday with the power failure with SpeedGaming. But for those who didn't get to hear the situation, you, unfortunately, in yesterday's race, hard last located and even second guessed going to Catfish. And now today, you did another hard last location. It's like if just one of those things would have went your way, you're the one that's moving on.
The difference, though, is how I wrote it yesterday. I had a horrible opening, so I already felt behind, and I thought I needed to make some skips. Now, admittedly, I should have done Catfish then, but I could have done Catfish when I went up to Pyramid before doing Pod. Like there is multiple times doing Catfish yesterday. Today, if I didn't do Castle early, I'm never getting to it because I have no mirror when I was doing Pyramid. Otherwise, it's a slow run to get there. It just, in my mind, I didn't think there would be mirror there 2 times in a row in the exact same spot. So I thought it had to be somewhere else.
Yeah, and that makes sense. The only reason I did it, I didn't do first chest castle like I did the first 2. This time I just I when I finally was ready to, when I got the Castle Tower starter set in the back of Old Man, I was like, all right, let's go over there. I immediately, because I was going to do that into Eastern. I'm like, no, forget it. Let's go to the tower. Let's kill Aga. And then I'm like, wait, let me do the castle because I have blue mail, but I only have 5 hearts, so it won't be that hard to death warp. And I literally was taking damage, setting up for the death warp, then opened the mirror, and I'm like, oh, never mind. Guess I'm mirroring.
Yeah, see, wouldn't say learned from the yesterday's seed, but it was more of a case of Eastern was a crystal. I wasn't gonna skip front of Eastern again, and I was gonna at least see. I was decently loaded out with hammer and other stuff. I'm like, okay, I think I can clear the boss. It's a crystal. It's worth my time to dig in here. And when I found Dark World Axes, I'm like, okay, hype cave to boots, boots to mitts, and I'm just like, I'm on an amazing opening, and then I just missed the mirror.
Yeah, and I mean, and what you're saying makes perfect sense because when we had our first sword, which was super early, but we had our first sword with the ability to get to Zelda Cell, but we didn't have boots, and most people are just it makes sense from a play perspective to not walk all the way there just on the offhand chance that it matters.
And like I said, once I found boots and that got me in my midst, I'm like, okay, the world's basically opened up. I can do a lot of stuff. And I just kept chasing everything else.
Yep.
It happens. I don't feel bad about this one as I did yesterday, because yesterday I knew I had a horrible opening and that basically just soured the entire seed. This, I just made what I thought were good plays, and I felt execution-wise and opening route good. It's just as soon as I pulled that mirror, I'm like, this is probably it. That was probably the end.
Yeah, and that's exactly what as I was saying, to myself as I was climbing the tower, because it really wasn't that bad of a gauntlet, and so I'm like, all right, this seed is literally gonna come down to who. In my case, like, I wasn't thinking about the mirror part initially. I was thinking about Pyramid Fairy. I'm like, all right, who did that first? I'm thinking, all right, I did Swamp into Ice. And then I'm like, okay, that's going to open up Pyramid Fairy. But because it sucked the last 2 times, let me first mirror, and then I'm going to route in Smith Chain into Purple Chest. And then I'm like, from Purple Chest, then I will go and I'll do Pyramid Fairy into Catfish. Because, again, I didn't want to repeat it yesterday. Yep. But then it was like, okay, I just turned in Purple Chest. Wait, let me quickly check Desert, but I'm not touching Mire. So then I went Mire to Pyramid Fairy, and that was that. But it basically came down to, I was saying, well, if Iceman went straight to Pyramid Fairy, assuming it would not be bad 3 seeds in a row, then there you go.
Which I did, but it was because I got the mirror too late and I rushed it.
Yeah.
Oh well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
A little bit less of Zelda for my part for next week. A little bit more for your part.
Yeah, now you can focus on your Cross Keys mentor and all that. So.
So. And for this being, the first Enemizer tournament, kind of, it's not that you guys have never played a mode before. It's happened, and we even had some form of it in Open League this year. But just kind of, talk about your experience in it. How different was it compared to some of the other tournaments you've been in?
It was interesting going to best of 3 brackets to start, but otherwise, it's fun to get an Enemizer in every once in a while. It's not one I'll play very often, but it's a nice change of pace.
Yeah, and I know, and now that I've played through, the first few games, I know I was one of the people early on that said, "Hey, Mookow, we're gonna do the new logical Enemizer," and you opted for the classic, or the live version of the Enemizer, and as I'm playing through this, I'm like, you know what? I'm actually kind of glad, because it's like, all right, well, I know for a fact I'm not going to come upon a surprise kill room. That could absolutely happen in Logical Enemizer. Like, I've already had Mire 2 several times where there's been Terrapins there. I'm like, well, guess I better come back with Hammer. So I'm admittedly happy that you opted not to do that. Because while I'm sure that would have been great for people watching, it would have also potentially really irritated players that have not had enough exposure to the new Enemizer yet.
Yeah, and one of the people that was close to the project, I'm not going to identify them, said that they weren't. I was on the fence of it, and they weren't really said it wasn't really ready, so we held off on that one just for the first year. Went with this, and for the first year, we just went with best 2 of 3 format, so everyone can at least get a couple matches in bracket format. Again, things are going to be fluid and subject to change. We're just going to get through the first year and see how it goes, and we'll get some feedback at the end, and we'll base things on what the participation is next year. That's of course next year, and as far as what's coming up, I take a look. Pool, you have moved on to the winner of Magnet Hands versus TI Mobile 1990. Now, neither one of them have played anything yet, so you're going to be waiting a little bit until they get their matches in and done. And then one thing with this tournament is once you know your second round opponent, you don't have to wait for week 2, so you can go ahead and anyone that has their round 2 matchup known, they can go ahead and start scheduling. So I don't know when their matches are going to be, but as soon as they're done and they got a winner deemed, you can go ahead and start scheduling one to the next round. But looks like unfortunately, Jarek withdrew from the tournament, so you are the last standing person of who got poutine on my cheesesteak.
All right, leaving the lone American to represent for the Canadians. All right,
good luck.
I'll need it.
All right, is there anything else that either of you guys would like to add at this time?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I just want to say GG's again for putting on, for a heck of a match, because, we have, and I know Iceman has said before, we have very similar, skill wise. I will say that Iceman is definitely more skilled than me at this game, but our play styles are very similar, and so that's what I think helped to make this as interesting as it was.
All right. Well, again, I want to thank both of you for being in here and putting on such great races. The fact that we were able to get 3 very entertaining races, couldn't have asked for much more to be able to showcase on the SpeedGaming channels. With that said, there is a lot more Enemizer to come. Now, we may have some issues getting some races up just because we did have a power failure with some of the SpeedGaming location, so until that is fully restored, we may not be able to stream as much Enemizer as we'd like, but just kind of keep up on everything. Definitely as we can get them on, whether it's SpeedGaming or elsewhere, we will definitely do that. There's all the information in the chat with the Enemizer tag displayed. We appreciate all of you coming out here today and checking things out. Really glad that you're able to enjoy this. And again, there's going to be many more of it to come, so I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you all are too. But again, this is Mookow 1980 along with my tracker fishing boo, the valuable fishing boo. Thank you so much for turning into this race, and I hope that all of you have a safe and happy evening or time zone wherever you are. Take care. Peace.
Later.